Good morning, class. I am Nikki Vanasam Shooting, your applied economics teacher. So I hope you're well and good right now. So this time, we will be discussing about the factors that affect supply and demand. So first, we have a financial performance. So when we say financial performance, which includes sales revenue, earnings, job load, return on assets, return on equity. And you may have heard in the news about a particular company announcing or releasing it, its earning for a quarter or the year end. This announcement may affect their stock price. And then we have number two, management. So management, which could be a direct correlation to the financial performance of the company. Mismanagement could include fraudulent and unethical business practices. As of late, many CEOs, the corporate executive have been persecuted for misuse the company, other things. And then, the number three is the industry performance. So when we say industry performance, it is a reflection of the industry as a whole. With the development of new technology, some industries become obsolete. There are no longer enough sales to support the business. And then, with the evolution of DVD and VHS, is practically obsolete. Ever heard of the 8-track of tape cassettes? What about the typewriter? And the number four, social awareness. So, social awareness, it involves the effect that a business has on society as whole. Some products that companies may make affect a person's health or well-being. Their manufacturing process may affect the environment. Some companies use child labor and underpay employees. Because of the social issues, a company can suffer in relation to sales and ultimately the stock price will be affected. Walmart is one of the largest companies in the world, yet they struggle to maintain their goodwill. Walmart has been under scrutiny for underpaying employees, among other things. And then we have here legal issues. So when we say legal issues, which involves lawsuits, settlements, and bad press. If a company is not a mega corporation such as Walmart, Exxon, Philip Morris, or lawsuit can destroy it. As a result, legal problems can adversely affect the financial performance of a company, thus affecting its stock price. And then, government regulations. It involves laws passed by the government which can affect a corporation. It can also involve a government, whether social, whether local, state, or federal, exercising its authority to handle business operations. So there have been instances when government have exercised eminent domain to disallow a corporation from building in their community. So in the year 1911, the United States Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil Co., founded by John D. Rockefeller, was a monopoly and thereby ordered to break the company up into several independent units. A law called in Sherman Antitrust Act was later passed to prevent the upstart of another Standard Oil. As a result, a business monopoly over an industry is illegal. And then we have the number seven, the media. So media play a major role in how a company is perceived. You might not be aware of any of the factors listed above if it were not for the media. The media includes televisions, newspapers, magazines, radio, and the internet. Now, Let's proceed the four types of market structures. Number one, perfect competition. So, perfect competition describes some market structures where a large number of small firms compete against each other. In this scenario, a single firm rather does not have any significant market power. As a result, the industry as a whole produces the socially optimal level of output because none of the firm can influence market prices. So, the idea of perfect competition builds on several assumptions. Number one, all firms maximize profits. Number two, there is free entry and exit to the market. And the number three, all firms sell completely identical, examples homogeneous goods. There are no consumer preferences. By looking at those assumptions, it becomes quite obvious that we will hardly ever find perfect competition in reality. That is an essential aspect because it is only market structures can be theoretically result in a socially optimal level of output. Probably the best example of a market with an almost perfect competition we can find in reality is the stock market. If you are looking for more information on perfect competition, you can also check our post on perfect competition versus imperfect competition. And the number two, monopolistic competition. So when we say monopolistic competition also refers a market structures where a large number of small firms compete against each other. However, unlike in perfect competition, the firm in monopolistic competition sell similar but slightly differentiated products that gives them a certain degree of market power which allows them to charge higher prices within a certain range. Monopolistic competition builds on the following assumptions. Number one, all firms maximize profits. Number two, there is free entry and exit to the market. And the number three, firms sell differentiated product. And the number four, consumer may prefer one product over the other. Now, those assumptions are a bit closer to reality than the ones we look at the perfect competition. However, these market structures no longer result in socially optimal level of output because the firm have more power and can influence market prices to a certain degree. Now, an example of monopolistic competition is the market for cereals. There is a huge number of different brands. Example, Cap'n Crunch, Lucky Charms, Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks. Most of them probably taste slightly different, but at the end of the day, they are all breakfast cereals. Now, number three, oligopoly. So, an oligopoly describes some market structures that is dominated by only a small number of firms that result in a taste of limited competition. The firms can either compete against each other and collaboratively by doing so, they can use their collective market power to drive up prices and earn more profit. An oligopolistic market structures builds on the following assumptions. All firms maximize profits, oligopolistic can set prices, there are barriers to entry and exit in the market, and then products may be homogeneous or differentiated, and there is only a few firms that dominate the market. And unfortunately, it is not clearly defined what a few firms means precisely. As a rule of thumb, we'll say that an oligopoly typically consists of about 3 to 5 dominant firms. Now we have in the last structures, which is the monopoly. So when we say monopoly, it refers to the market structures where a single firm controls the entire market. In this scenario, the firm has a highest level of market power, as consumers do not have any alternative. As a result, monopolists often reduce the output to increase prices and earn more profit. So the following are made when we talk about monopolist. Number one, monopolists maximize profit. Number two, it can set the price. And then number three, there are high barriers to entry and exit. And then number four, there is only one firm that dominates the entire market. So, from the perspective of society, most monopolists are usually not desirable because they result in lower outputs and higher prices compared to competitive markets. Therefore, they are often regulated by the government. An example of a real-life monopoly could be Monsanto. This company trademarked about 80% of all corn harvested in the US, which gives it a high level of market power. You can find additional information about monopolists in our post on monopoly power. So that's all. Any questions, clarifications, additions? So if you don't have any questions, just go to your learning path for your activity at www.guide.com or just call me or message me at 0926 2974685.